Hey, we're talking about Microsoft's E3 2017 conference. I'm Matthew Fava. This is Matthew Owen.
What's up, man?
Matthew Owen used to have an Xbox One, Xbox Original podcast. See how it's already getting confusing. Then an Xbox 360 podcast. Now you're on this podcast talking about the Xbox One X.
Come full circle.
Could they have made a dumber name?
Yes. It could have been much dumber, but the Xbox One X is a dumb name for sure.
Yeah, it's already confusing enough with an Xbox One S, Xbox One X, Xbox One, and then there's still an actual Xbox One, the original, which was a really cool system.
That's what I want to bring up is that, like, just with naming conventions, if you want to call it a singular letter, that's cool. But you have something called the Xbox One S. So calling it the Xbox One X, which is literally the most similar sounding letter, it's just going to confuse the hell out of retailers and parents when they're going to buy.
Can you imagine trying to like say that over the phone to order that thing?
Yeah, I would like an Xbox One X, and they're like, "Oh, we have them for $250," and you're like, "No, the S." I mean, it's they could have just named it. Here's the thing: everyone's going to call the Xbox One S the Slim now, and it's just going to get rid of the problem. But like we were saying before we started recording, the Scorpion was a fine name. A Scorpio would have been fine too. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was the best idea, but it could have been way worse. It could have been way, way worse.
Yeah, it is what it is. Now, I think at this point, what do you think of the price point? $500 American.
See, I was super surprised by that on our podcast, on my podcast, Super Gamecast 64. We said that it probably wouldn't have been below $650. Just because of the chip price, like the Scorpio chip, that thing is like $700 as is. I'm sure they manufacture it for a little bit cheaper, but I don't think Microsoft is making any money off these systems. And if they are, it's minute. I think $500 is really good for consumers. But like I said, Microsoft's probably not making a lot of money. I think it's the right price point because it's competitive against the PS4 Pro. And if it was more expensive, they would lose the potential customers. But at this point, the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X are so close in price point that it's like, you might as well get the Xbox One X, honestly.
Yeah, and I think if you were going to go, it's nice. It's a little bit higher than the other ones, but it's not exorbitant. Anytime you go over $500 of the console, it just kind of feels like it reaches a new market.
That's what put PlayStation in the casket when they announced PS3, and they were like, "Hey, $600." And people were like, no.
I mean, it did do $600 worth of things, but people like consoles for at the time, especially more simplicity. Sony was sort of one generation ahead when they were trying to come up with this multi-entertainment server for your living room that now everything does.
Yeah, but everything is a.
But that was like the
player.
physical generation time. Where, I mean, there was like SD card readers on that thing, and the original PS3 was a monster. Anyway, so this thing's going to be running at native 4K. I thought
the only system that does native 4K,
and they're going to have ultra Blu-ray player ability, can play the actual
UHD,
Blu-ray discs.
HDR, all sorts of buzzwords just thrown in your face. The only thing you really need to know is that this is the most powerful console. It's more powerful than a PS4 by a long shot. It's more powerful than a PS4 Pro. But the main thing comes down to it is that, they're going to have patches that make your pre-existing games look better. Phil Spencer said, even if you don't have a 4K TV, a 1080 TV will make everything still look great.
Yeah,
but it's
super
a lot
sampling.
It's like a PS4 Pro. There's no exclusive games unless you're really hungry for the power. It's really unnecessary at this point. I think we'll wait and see. Like kind of how they said BioWare was using the Xbox One X for Anthem, which we'll talk about later. I think it'll be a while until you see developers really committing themselves to using the power and staying on that console. But for now, it's just a very powerful Xbox. And we already have a very powerful PlayStation, but they're just not utilized very properly. So
yeah, I mean, it's a 4K machine is what it is. It's turning into PC gaming where you're running the same thing. You're hoping that the performance is going to be locked so that even on the vanilla Xbox, you're not going to suffer any frame rate problems, and you're just going to be playing at a lower resolution, which I think is fine. If you want to spend more for more resolution, as long as it runs solid on all of them, that's fine for me.
I think the main thing that this shows is that we might be pushing out of the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 kind of cycle.
Right.
With the Scorpio, the Xbox One X, being this powerful, there's really no reason for Microsoft to release a Xbox 2 or anything in the next, 6, 7, 8 years. And I think PlayStation's probably going to follow suit with just having a very powerful console that stays really good and, just as powerful as it needs to be for, 10 plus years. I think we're seeing more of like the hardware upgrade and a consistent singular device rather than the different iterations now.
But you say that is going to be as powerful as you need for 10 years, but then I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years there was an Xbox One
True story.
version, S.
XL.
They'll actually probably call it the double X, and they'll add an S onto that one, like, an iPhone 4S or 5S, and then you'll sort of shift out one of them. In a way, you're allowing the top is being raised for better resolutions, but you're keeping the backwards compatibility. It's it's a different shift. They're basically just copying the PC market and the phone market, and I think they just want not only to chase the power, but another reason for people to buy another console.
Yeah, they're always just fishing for dollars, and hardware isn't, people don't make a ton of money off hardware nowadays. A lot of it is software sales. I might be talking my butt, but you're completely right. They're doing the Apple thing where they're just going to keep on making iterations of the same console. I just don't think we're going to see massive UI changes and stuff like that like we've seen in the past.
No.
But we'll see. We'll see what it actually does.
You're right. I'm thinking they're doing it to make more money, but they're not like Apple. They're not charging $700 or $800. I think you're right that they are losing money. They lost money when they made the original Xbox every time they sold it. I think the PS3 lost money every time they sold the
Sony
PS3.
loses money on PS3s. Yeah, it's these hardwares, they're losing money. I think they're just trying to get the install base to push forward these premium contents, these softwares, these DLCs.
Well, they're trying to offer something that the competition doesn't have.
Exactly, and I think a lot. That's one of the things
PC.
As we get into the games here, that's a lot of this conference. 90% of this conference was just games.
Yeah, this was a good conference in that way.
And 22 out of the 42 they showed were exclusive. World premiere console launch exclusive was like a thing that I saw almost before every trailer. So I honestly don't even know what's exclusive and not. I would say a lot of the exclusive games are those Xbox ones that they showed really fast that we'll get into later.
Yeah.
But there's a decent amount of exclusivity here, which I was surprised to see as well.
Sure, we have that new phrase of console exclusivity where it might be it's on the PC, but if it's not on PS4, then they can claim that as another exclusive.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the last thing I want to say about the Scorpio that's not a Scorpio is that it's the smallest Xbox in the line. I think that was pretty impressive. I would not have been surprised if it was a big honking ugly piece of crap. So I was pretty surprised that they made it look small. I
thought at the very least it was going to be bigger than the Slim. That's why I was surprised. Like you said, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was the size of like the original Xbox One. But the fact that it's the smallest and the most powerful, and it's liquid cooled and stuff, it's really high tech.
Vapor.
The liquid vapor, first time ever. Wait until that shit just like bursts open and then everything.
Yeah, don't swallow that.
I'm not trying to jinx them. Yeah,
all right. Then we looked at Forza 7 Motorsport.
Looking good.
When I didn't know what they were going to be showing in this conference, and when they showed off a new car, I thought they must not have very many new games if the thing they're showing off is a new car. I thought this was a bit of a misstep where the whole conference was about getting the Scorpio out of the way, which isn't the Scorpio, and then tons and tons of games, back-to-back games. It wasn't like EA's horrible conference of just people telling you how excited they are about games and not actually showing you anything. Yeah. This was the only one where I was a little bit confused. I'm like, I don't want to see a car. I don't really want to see these racers, even though they're beautiful. Yeah. I just want to see some games. So they showed off some pretty cool weather effects. It looked good. Racing games look good. Forza looks great. It's going to be 4K, 60 frames per second. It's their flagship racing game. So people with Xbox One X can enjoy that.
The most important thing is that Microsoft has yet again put out another Forza Motorsport. Yeah. And they have also done a spin-off in Forza Motorsport or Forza Horizon 3. They put out 3 Forza games before Sony. Well, we don't know yet because Sony is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before Sony has even talked about Gran Turismo. So at this point, I have friends who are die-hard Sony fans because they like Gran Turismo, but if you really want a simulation, like, you have to go to Xbox because Forza is the only thing on the market right now that's new.
Yeah.
So
the Turismo team takes forever.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not expecting Turismo to put out like 7, 8, 9 really, really quick like they do with Forza, but at the base level, they put out 3 Forza games with 7 coming up before they've even announced anything about GT Sport. So hopefully we'll see some stuff about GT Sport. For me, I prefer Horizon because I'm not a huge fan of simulation racing. Are you into that kind of stuff?
I like fun racing. I don't like having to press the brake or think about it. I just want to go fast. It
looked really, really good. I will say that, whether or not I'm going to play it, which I probably won't, except for a little bit of taste, I can say that it looks good. The weather effects are awesome. and it's just stepping the bar up, which is good. That's what Forza needs to do: consistently make better looking games. Because if you're a fan of simulation racing, I think the systems they already have in place will work fine.
All right. Then we looked at Metro Exodus. This actually looked pretty badass. I wasn't sure what it was. Did you clue into it right away?
Yeah. Oh, real quick, by the way, Forza 7 launches on November 3rd this year, which is important to bring up. I think we should at least talk because there's quite a mix of late 2017, early 2018, and identified 2017 dates all over the place with this conference. Here's the thing about Metro is I am a pretty big fan of Metro 2033 and Last Light. I own like the collection thing on Xbox One. I played on 360. I didn't really see it coming, but as soon as I saw the little splattering where it's like the bloody gas mask, I was like, oh, Metro, that's really cool.
Right.
And I gotta say, Metro, wow, it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks like a real showcase.
Yes, very much so. They didn't show us a lot except for, whoa, crazy stuff and shooting monsters, but just objectively speaking, it looks good.
Yeah, and once they got out to the world, I thought that it really opened up and looks pretty damn interesting. There were a lot of games like this, post-apocalyptic, action-y RPGs with overrun with crazy wilderness and
the thing of 2017 is it seems to be slow-mo jumping with a bow and arrow and dystopian mixes of just like you said, everything looks kind of like shambled. Almost every game we saw, with a few exceptions, was always like dystopian or ruined environments, or at least had that kind of aesthetic. We'll see. But I'm counting now at this point because in Microsoft alone, there was 2 slow down, shoot your bow and arrow in their gameplay trailers. So I'm wondering how hardcore that's going to get when it comes to Sony even. Exodus is 2018, by the way. That's out for a while.
2018. All right. Now, they didn't even talk anymore. They went right into another video, and this was Assassin's Creed Origins, set in Egypt, coming out October 27th, 2017, another holiday game. We saw a giant snake. This is going to be leading up to the foundation of the Assassin's Creed. They added a few more RPG elements, some more systems. It looks pretty good. Looks like an Assassin's Creed game. I like that they took a year off.
Yes.
I'm not really a big fan of the series. I'm not really a big fan of Ubisoft games in general. I find I don't like the overall Ubisoft tone in terms of their single player games. I do like a lot of their multiplayer games, Rainbow Six Siege, For Honor.
Well, Ubisoft's single player campaigns, Watch Dogs 2, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, they're usually the same. Big open world, a lot of things you go and you check off. It's third person action.
I was getting stressed just looking at how many markers were popping up when he was walking around the town.
That's something interesting to note. At the top now, it's kind of like a Skyrim almost. I feel like they're really trying to embrace the fact that it's RPG, because what you're used to with Assassin's Creed, especially with Syndicate, is towns and kind of not metropolitan, but buildings and stuff. And we saw him sliding down, the main character whose name I cannot pronounce. He's sliding down this giant pyramid. It seems like it's more of an outdoorsy kind of thing, which you saw a lot in the earlier Assassin's Creed series. We can ride a horse again. The one thing I'll say about this is that I really like that Syndicate, the latest Assassin's Creed, was very brutal in its violence, and it was very in your face. And it seems like they kind of toned that back a little bit. But I like the way they're going with the added RPG elements. You see weapons that have different statistics and stuff. So, it'll be interesting to see. If anything, I like the color. I like the variety in environments. It's not all just, gold and brown. There's some nice deserts. There's some nice creeks and some lush environments. So it looks decent. I'm going to play it. I know I'll play it. So. And
guards that can't see shadows.
Apparently.
Player Unknown Battlegrounds making its way to the Xbox, not the PS4, coming in late 2017. The game's been a big smash hit, very popular on the PC, making the rounds on Twitter. I feel like that game is a real grower. It's sort of a word of mouth, or it's growing by being shared, and it looks great. And I'm happy for that guy that the game did well, and good for Xbox. They really doubled down on all types of games. Microsoft. Yes, they're like scrambling for whatever they can get. That's a big get for them.
Yeah, I think the most important thing about PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is, honestly, the game itself. It's literally you're dropped into a 100-person server on an island, and it's literally the Hunger Games. You just start off at base 0, and you're trying to kill everybody else before you die. The game itself is fun because it incites that kind of community. As a game, like I said, it's basic, but the real thing about this is that they cut off PlayStation. What they did is they showed they have their finger on the pulse. This is a modder who released a mod as a standalone game, and it's super big. And Microsoft sees this; they see exactly how popular it is, and they're like, "Sure, we'll jump on it." if anything, this just goes and shows that, hey, sorry, PS4 players, if you want to play some of these very, very community-driven games, you're going to have to pony up for a PC or cross to the dark side of Xbox. So I think that was a big get, at least in deterrence of Sony, at the very least. Absolutely.
Then we saw a game called Deep Rock Galactic. Looked to me like some sort of 4-player co-op where you play as dwarves mining and shooting bugs. This looked like a PC game, the kind of game you'd see come out on Steam for about $20 and would have a lot of loot and progression and
randomly generated and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and a real sort of cartoony, colorful style as well.
I like the style. I like the art direction. At the very least, like I said, they showed us a little bit, and like you said, it's 4-player kind of spelunking, but there's some action and some shooting, but I like the use of color. I'm not sure. They haven't told us a lot. It could be just like group up with a party of 3 or 4 dudes and run into a randomly generated dungeon, and that's all right.
That's what it looks like to me. Another looks like a co-op online game, State of Decay 2.
Yep.
Zombie survival game coming out spring 2018. I didn't think the visuals looked too great in this. I thought that a lot of times when the zombies were exploding, it looked so very visually kind of clashed with the original style. There wasn't a lot of fidelity with it. This kind of looked like a mod too. I mean, this just could be very early footage from it, or it could be, is it just because the game is so large, or is it a small team? I don't know anything about State of Decay 1.
State of Decay started off as a single player game. It's very much survival. So like you're going out and you're doing, you're beating up zombies with with weapons and stuff like that, but it's a lot about going into a house, finding the resources, taking them back to your base, building your base. It was a cool idea. It was a very big game, but the original, the graphics were kind of meh and it was clunky. I think what happened is that State of Decay 2 has become a bigger deal than it actually was meant to be, because it's now 4-player online co-op. It's already got the basics of, resource and survival. I think they're trying to hit that. These kind of games have become more popular on PC over the past 2 or 3 years, and State of Decay 1 was kind of just under the radar. I think they're boosting it up to sell it because it's a popular genre. But it's not early. It's literally, that's just kind of how the game looks. It seems like they've taken the original, kind of upped the character models a teeny bit and added some flashy lighting on it. But I never thought State of Decay 2 was going to look great. Hopefully it'll be a little bit faster paced than the first one, because that's what I didn't like, all the survival stuff. But we'll see.
From the footage, it's just a lot of people standing around shooting, and I'm so tired of zombies. But it's a sequel, so they have to go with that. All right, then we saw the Darwin Project, some kind of arena shooter where you're looting enemies, you're picking up abilities. It looked like they had seven people in some kind of multiplayer battle, and it's very colorful again.
Yes.
I get more of like this PC influence too. It seems like ever since Overwatch and Battleborn, if you can remember that game, hit the consoles, we've gotten this big. It just came out at the wrong time, and
you can't go against Overwatch as Battleborn. You can't.
It was like choosing between apples and a better apple. Although I know they're a little different.
Well, but that's what this Darwin Project reminded me of Battleborn. You see a little ability bar at the bottom. It's third person. And now I want to say that this is the only cringe moment in Microsoft's
the shoutcaster.
Yeah, dude. Like they're like, here's this game. They show us this nice trailer. It's very like, oh, what is this? I don't think I've seen this. Cool art style. And as soon as we get gameplay, it's like this esports dude just screaming, and I'm like, I'm trying to watch the game. I understand if you want to have a commentator, but literally this dude is just screaming at the top of his lungs like he's a freaking FIFA, commentator. It's not that hype, dude. It's annoying. Stop yelling. Now I have to go watch the trailer online because you had a presenter screaming over his fucking lungs. Sorry for my French, but it's so aggravating.
Keep going.
I think the reason I'm so aggravated about this is because EA wasted an hour on, esports, and it's like they think we care as a fundamental thing about how esports are affected. Like, we like esports and we like that kind of community as a separate thing. I don't want to see 40 minutes of esports into my, my industry press conference. And I think screaming commentators are like right there next to every no-name YouTuber who's trying to, pat the back of a developer and say their game is awesome. Like we saw that with EA. All these developers or all these streamers like, oh my God, Battlefield 1 is amazing. And I think that's why it peeved me off.
Their favorite thing about Battlefield 1 is the community.
Yeah, which is it's good, but at the same time, like if you're gonna spend
I was being sarcastic. I hated hearing that so much. It just It was so annoying. I want to see trailers of fun, cool games and
exactly
like the reason I play video games. I don't want to see people talking about it.
If you want to if you guys want to, go ahead and have a circle jerk of esports, make a little esports conference and watch nobody watch it. There you go. Like, don't interject your esports into the press conference. You're wasting minutes. That's all you're doing. That's end of. I really hope Sony does not push the esports at all, because it'll be detrimental to the whole entire press conference.
I wonder how much of Sony's conference modifies after they watch what Microsoft has done. I wonder if they.
I mean, every year they change it up. Because they're especially the year when
because it's obviously such a huge production they have to plan. You would think that I wonder if they lock it in completely. They don't, whatever. We don't care what Microsoft does, or if they go and look at it. Because remember that the big launcher of the Xbox One and PS4, it seemed like Sony was being very reactive. Because Microsoft is talking about their, the used games policy and a lot of anti sort of gamer stuff, and Sony came out and their whole conference was like a retort to Microsoft.
I think they lock in the content, but I think they change up the script.
Yeah, I can see that.
Balance.
All right, well, Minecraft. Hey, it's going to be cross-platform play. You can play it on mobile, VR, console, PC. A super duper graphics pack is coming out this fall. Makes it look
it's Minecraft
a little better. It's Minecraft. You can play it everywhere. All right, moving on. Dragon Ball FighterZ or Dragon Ball Z Fighter. Could not tell from the way that the logo
is. I don't know.
This is sort of a Marvel versus Capcom type 3 versus 3 coming out early 2018. I think the Marvel versus Capcom over-the-top flashy fighting fits this really well.
Yeah, this is also developed by the guys who make Guilty Gear. So that the 2D... Yeah, the 2D mechanics, they're not going to be for naught. This is a developer who knows how to make a 2D fighter, and they're adapting a new franchise. I've always liked Dragon Ball fighters as an idea, but I don't like 3D fighters, and I don't like the Dragon Ball style of them. So I'm really glad to see it. They're
almost always really bad too. It's like they just. I feel so bad for that franchise because they have such a loyal fan base. It's such a cool anime and stories, but they never do anything with the games. And this actually looks like. I'm serious. I mean, like you said, with Guilty Gear, that's one of the.
It's something new. I'm gonna play it. I'm excited.
I would play this actually.
Yep.
For sure. All right. Then we had an MMORPG called Black Desert, another exclusive. We saw Knights and Giants, fantasy characters, magic, very Japanese style, flashy combat, big huge monsters.
MMOs, man. With ESO doing Elder Scrolls Online doing pretty decently on consoles, and you see some of these free to play MMOs popping up on Xbox. Hey, might as well go MMO with Black Desert. Black Desert looks good. It's been shaping up for a while now. People are excited about it. PC communities are excited about it. So it's a good get. We'll have to see when it comes out. Yeah.
My favorite game I saw, and I'm so pissed it's an exclusive, a little indie platformer called Artful Escape.
Yeah, dude. I'm so amped about it.
Wait, sorry. That's not the one I liked. But this still looks cool.
No, both of those. Both of these games were my favorite part. Purely because it's like drenched in indie style. That's all these things are. It's so cool looking.
Right. Okay, yeah. See, I had meant to talk about The Last Night.
That's the one that mixes pixel art and 3D and crazy neon lighting for an amazing effect. I have no clue what the game is about.
Yeah, I mean, there's some shooting, but there seems to be a lot more about story. It could be sort of an adventure puzzle kind of game. Very, I think so. Like Blade Runner-y, cyberpunk.
Yeah,
looks fantastic. And then
just the art, the combination of pixel art and 3D, I don't think has really been used before, and it has a really cool perspective. If you haven't seen this trailer, go search out the trailer for The Last Night. It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you think of Xenogears. The characters were sprites, but they were in these 3D environments, which was the opposite of Final Fantasy VII, which used the 3D characters and then the 2D pre-rendered backgrounds. Right, so Artful Escape, indie platformer. The guy's playing a guitar. Very like 60s psychedelic, sort of Yellow Submarine or that Monty Python visual style. Looked pretty neat. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell what the mechanics are going to be like.
Both of these, they were so quick that it was, we were kind of lost on what the actual gameplay was. But it looks cool.
He looks very Gordon Freeman.
Yeah, he does.
He runs around in an orange suit, too. Okay, then we had Code Vein, which I wrote down as anime Dark Souls.
It's Bandai Namco. It's like a vampire-themed action RPG. But yeah, you're pretty much there. I don't think it's going to be as hard as Dark Souls. I think it'll be more like your standard action RPG, more of like a character action. But
you'll be able to beat
anime.
it.
Exactly.
It looks great. I love Bandai Namco.
Yeah, it looks good. It'll be next year, so we'll see when that comes out. But it was nice to see. I like the style of it. I like kind of the art direction they're going with. Cool use of reds.
Yeah, and the way that they have what looks to be in-game, the faces look so like beautiful, just straight ripped from an anime, and they managed to meld that right into the actual gameplay, which I assume is from the engine. Then we had very, very different from that Japanese style of Code Vein, Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, dude, this was quite lengthy too. They like a 2 or 3 minute long thing.
And there was no, from what I could tell, nothing was pre-rendered, none of that bullshit. It was just a bunch of gameplay for better or worse, and it looked really fun.
Yeah, I think this game, it's been in technical alpha for a while, so people have gotten their hands on it, but I think what we really need to see is the whole thing, exactly how much content there is, how much is crafted, how much is like generated. There's a lot of questions, I think, on the table of what the meat of Sea of Thieves is, if it's questing, if it's just literally like searching a map and looking for treasure. But at the very least, I can say it looks like fun with friends. You know, regardless of what you're doing, it looks like it's fun.
Yeah, that's sort of, I mean, when you're on the ship, you obviously have to multitask to be able to operate the whole ship because there's only so many things one person can do. And then when you're going into these caves and grabbing the treasure chest, sort of Indiana Jones style, I noticed the person with the treasure chest can't attack. So you would have to have your friends with you escorting. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The sharks look a little bit annoying. They look like anytime you go in the water, you're going to get eaten.
Yeah, I wonder how big that's going to be as a mechanic. Maybe, I hope it's not, because that would be stupid if you couldn't jump off the ship and just kind of swim down and have fun. I think that's a cool aspect. The ocean itself needs to be just as explorable as the islands and stuff that they have.
Yeah, the sharks could be kind of a pest if you just want to explore. Skeleton enemies, so there is now this new layer of fantasy, and now that we've seen animated skeletons, anything could happen in this game.
Who knows? Giant dragons, huge monsters. That's what I really want from this game, is like sea monsters and stuff like that. Huge boss battles. I don't think we'll get them, but it would be cool to see that.
Now, another game that was shown that really made me want an Xbox is Tacoma.
Hey!
That's coming out August 2nd.
Trailer was like 2 seconds long.
Yeah. I mean, it's from the makers of Gone Home, and where Gone Home used audio logs, this is going to use hologram logs. Looks very creepy, looks good. I think it's going to be great, expanding on that idea.
The walking simulator.
Yeah, it's going to be a great story, a mystery to solve. Yeah, that was a really short trailer, actually. I'm trying to track that down.
Yeah, no, it was literally like 15 seconds. But if you've never played Gone Home and you're interested in Tacoma, like Matt said, if you don't have an Xbox, Gone Home is this developer's first game. It was really, really, really good. You can get on PC, PS4, Xbox. If you want to get a taste of kind of how they're doing the narrative, play that. I mean, everyone should play Gone Home. It should be cheap at this point. It's a great game.
Yeah, and it's only a few hours. It's a nice evening.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then we had, 3D platformers are back. Lucky's Tale, coming out November 7th, 2017. 3D platformer. Kind of looks like Mario 3D World Catsuit the game.
Yes.
Looks pretty good. It's got more of that rare look to it. I thought that the movement looked a little bit slow for my taste for such a big game.
I can see that. Honestly, when I looked at the movement, I also thought of Conquer, because Conquer is slow and then he does this little like tail thing. First off, when they announced this thing, I thought it was Conquer at first, because you see like this little bushy tail run around, like flashes of blue, and you're like, oh snap, and then it's not Conquer. I think I'll have to get my hands on it, because with any 3D platformer, it really comes down to the controls, is how well it controls. So.
Absolutely. Now we have another platformer, Cuphead. Finally seeing a bit more of that. September 29th looks as good as ever. Now there's a lot more variety. Some more bullet hell type levels, a lot of different bosses. It's amazing now how you can just take all of that. It's kind of like how the computer power we had 5 or 10 years ago is now so small you can put it on a phone. And now the animation that people had back, I mean, the Cuphead style used to be only in theaters, and now you can make that completely
Steamboat
playable
kind of stuff. Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
So you can take that pre-rendered stuff and make it playable, and it looks great.
I'm so amped for Cuphead. Beyond belief, dude. I've been looking forward to this game for a long time. I'm glad that's finally... I didn't think it was going to release this year. I didn't think September and early. I thought that was like 2018 for sure. So that was like a big surprise for me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Crackdown 3 coming out November 7th. Terry Crews is in it. They had some kind of like Sega CD on steroids full motion video of him on a green screen just yelling at you.
the normal Terry Crews like, let's go, come on, like get pumped. Like they just had to do that for 25 seconds.
Yeah, it really sounds like they just said go for it. And then when the
They're
game
just like yell.
when the gameplay actually gets going, it's more of a cell shaded for people jumping through a city. Lots of jumping, very high jumping. They sort of have sort of like biotic powers and a lot of destructible environments. Although I didn't really see too much destruction being shown off here. A few things are getting pummeled. It wasn't really as impressive as that was the big hype for this game for so long. Was like, oh,
they showed
destroy buildings, but
that was like the one thing they showed is they were like, look at with this cloud processing. This was like last year, 2 years ago. They're like, look at how indestructible like the whole entire environment is. And in this, it didn't look like buildings were falling apart. I think that might be an online thing only, maybe not in the single player.
Okay.
Well, it looks like it's mainly co-op. But you were right. Yeah, they have like superpowers and you're throwing cars and stuff. General mayhem. It's kind of like the Saints Row series as it got later.
Yeah, or like a 4-player Infamous.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of 4-player co-op.
That's what I was saying too. Is that this year is, besides the bow and arrow slowdown, it's kind of the year of co-op. We've seen a lot of co-op experiences, or games that were single player originally, like State of Decay, are now 4-player co-op. So that's nice.
You know that the favorite thing is the community.
Yeah, dude, you gotta love the community.
And players making experiences even better than the game originally promised.
That's a lie.
Then we had Then we had a Sizzle Reel. Holy crap, there were a lot of games here.
Yeah, I tried. When I was covering this for the site, I tried. Dude, there's no way I could get screenshots. It was like boom, 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 boom. And a lot of these games look really good.
They do. And I mean, some of them it looks like or have already been released in other areas. Okay, we had Osiris, some sort of sci-fi survival type game. Osiris New Dawn looked good. Then we had Raider of the Broken Planet. I thought that looked like sort of a sci-fi fantasy flying ship shooter. Yeah. I don't really know a lot about this. I actually was really interested in this one. Like, what is the world? What is going on in this game? Because I
think the Sizzle Reel did that for every single game. You know, with the exception of a few that I already kind of knew about, like Surviving Mars. I was like, ooh, what is that? And then I was like, oh, I guess I'll never know.
I know. I love all these sci-fi games coming out. Then we had Unruly Heroes, some sort of beautifully animated platformer.
Yeah, I don't even remember half of this stuff. It went so fast.
It's a lot of animal characters. Yeah, I think you play as a fox.
Okay, no, I remember that.
Sort of Ori and the Blind Forest style, big sweeping combat, very, very colorful and flourishy. Then we had Path of Exile, looked like a Diablo type game.
Yep.
Battle Right, some sort of top-down arena shooter.
Yeah, it looks weird. I don't know. I feel like that's one of those ones that might sizzle out depending on how much people take into it. And that's the thing about these games is that the Sizzle Reel, you can't ignore the Sizzle Reel. Cuphead was originally on a Sizzle Reel. I think maybe 70% of these games will be okay, and 30% of them are going to be awesome, like absolutely amazing. It's really trying to pick and choose which ones you think are going to work out.
Surviving Mars, some sort of simulation builder.
Yeah, like for me, I don't really like a building simulator on Mars, but I know people who would love it.
Yeah,
because it's supposed to be hard as hell. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Fable Fortune, a card game. Hey, Hearthstone is popular.
It's a Fable Hearthstone.
Observer, some sort of first-person horror sci-fi.
This shit looks great. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it looks really cool. And very cyberpunky, too, with that headset with all the wires being jacked in. It's like Johnny Mnemonic.
Nice pull.
Nice. Robocraft. I guess mechs and vehicle combat. It
was very, very kind of samey. It was just like, look at these mechs punching people, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, Dunk Lords, some sort of arcade basketball.
Yep.
Minion Masters, tower defense, but competitive tower defense.
Looks like that, yeah.
Brawl Out. I actually put up a video on the channel. It's a really good Smash clone.
Yeah. You were talking about that quite a bit. Right now it's on PS4, I believe, and PC in beta or early access.
You betcha.
Oh yeah.
Ooblets. What the hell is this?
I remember the name because it was weird. I don't remember what the game was.
Super like children's story illustration style. If I had to guess, I would think it's some kind of Animal Crossing game or I
remember there being like a sheep or something.
Yeah, a lot of animals, a lot of people just dancing and being in front of houses. So we'll have to ask Misha what she thinks about it. She's the Animal Crossing expert.
Yeah. Shouts out to Misha.
That's right. Dark and Light. That's right. I saw a dragon flying, and I wrote down Souls Light, but maybe with a bigger open world. when you see
It's
the
a
character
dragon.
running all the time, gigantic rock beasts.
Yeah, that stuff looks kind of cool. I like the scale. That's just something I like in games. I like Shadow of the Colossus because it's like, wow, look at how big the thing is.
Right.
But that's the thing when you see, like you said, when you see a character running for a long time, I'm like, I really hope that world is populated. Like, don't just make it a big world with nothing in it.
I'm surprised that one didn't get more attention because it looked like a AAA game. Strange Brigade. This looks like their answer to Uncharted, perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean, on a much smaller scale.
Ain't AAA, but hey.
River Bond. I don't know what the hell this is. It's like an isometric sort of Zelda type game.
Yeah, puzzly, kind of little action light.
Yeah. They look like those little monsters that chase. They look like that cartoon everybody likes, Adventure Time.
Hey, man, Adventure Time's great.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said everybody likes it.
Dude, you know what else everybody likes? This next one.
Hello Neighbor?
Yeah, dude, this has been getting hella hype.
What is this, a VR game?
No, Hello Neighbor is a stealth action, or it's like a stealth game. I don't know a lot about it because I've kept myself low on it because I'm amped. Essentially, what I think it is you're breaking out of your neighbors, or you're breaking in and then trying to escape with something and rob them. But it's like your neighbor, and it's all about his AI. Like, have you ever seen the movie Don't Breathe?
I've seen the preview. I think I know what goes on in it.
Okay, yeah, and it's a blind guy, and he finds out that there's people who have come into his house, so now he's like boarding it up and making it impossible for them to leave. That's what I'm pretty sure Hello Neighbor is. It's very cartoony. It's kind of like colorfully violent. But if you're a fan of stealth,
very Tim Burton.
Yeah, it's people are getting excited for it because it is like kind of a hide and seek horror aspect kind of thing that you see with newer horror games.
Okay,
but it's got that stealth mechanic. If you're trying to escape and you're trying to dodge this neighbor you have. I don't know the story behind it, but it looks like a fun gameplay loop.
It looks very goofy, in the best way, like a horror goof.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right, then we had what's this called? Shift. 2D action melee samurai, really quickly, sort of like tons of enemies, air combat, air juggling.
Nice.
All right, looks kind of cool. Conan Exiles.
Yeah, they closed out with Conan Exiles. My co-host on my podcast was just playing this on PC. Mm-hmm. Apparently, it's fun. It's a lot of like big monsters and stuff like that.
Yeah, it seems like it only gets attention for the nudity, but I've heard that it's a pretty good game.
Yep.
Okay, then we had another exclusive, Ashen, some sort of indie-looking co-op Dark Souls.
Yeah, it looks really weird, like kind of like a character action. It's almost like claymation. It's really about the style. Yeah,
clay for sure, and they don't have eyes. It's very creepy.
Yeah, it's almost like they're no mouths, no nose, or maybe I'm misremembering, but it's like their face is just like a blank
mustaches.
slate.
Yeah, definitely blank. I think. Yeah, I'm looking at the guy without a mustache, and he's a blank slate.
Yeah,
he just has hair.
It's very creepy. It's like subtly creepy. Like you got these enemies that are like
still kind of comforting because it's clay, so it still looks like a toy. It's not Dark Souls or Bloodborne where it's so creepy. It's actually terrifying.
Mold the game how you want it because we love our community.
That's right. Hey, Life is Strange Before the Storm, episode 1 of 3, The Search for Rachel.
Yeah, dude. This is Chloe before she had her blue hair, before she was super punky.
I think this could be kind of cool. Chloe was
Chloe.
less annoying than Max, that's for sure.
Yeah, Max is definitely a character. I would say that. Chloe is a little bit more down to earth. I just hope that she doesn't... I hope that Life is Strange Before the Storm doesn't continue the trend of like obnoxious use of California slang because that was like annoying. Every 5 seconds, like hella this, hella that.
Especially when you realize it's some 40-year-old Frenchman writing the dialogue for what he thinks a teenage girl's going to say.
That's the problem. It's not the use of it. It's the complete and utter misuse of it.
I loved Life is Strange. I thought it had some clunker episodes, but it also had some devastating moments.
I think Life is Strange is the best Telltale game that isn't a Telltale game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Great. Sequel 2, Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, October 10th, 2017. This looks really good. They're actually adding a very nice mechanic where you are dominating these orcs, taking them over, and building an army.
Dominating them.
Yeah.
Well, here, I like the first one. I like the Nemesis system in the first in Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor. I never beat the first game. Maybe it's because I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan, but it looks like they doubled down on the Nemesis system. Like you said, you can like recruit dudes now. They're really taking what the fans liked and I think expanding on it, which for a game that was kind of a smash hit out of nowhere, it's good. It's good. They're doing good work on it.
Yeah, they seem to really have gone for the personality of these orcs. These guys have a lot of dialogue.
That. Yeah.
Then we saw Ori, Will of the Wisps, coming out for Xbox and Windows 10 exclusive. They had the composer doing a live piano soundtrack. It looked great.
Yeah, dude. Ori and the Blind Forest is probably my favorite Metroidvania of just the past 5 years. It's bar none, just a great game. So to see Ori 2 and this quickly, we just had Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition not too long ago. To see them come out, I really hope that they took their time with it and they didn't rush out a sequel, because Ori is very special. It's a very special game. It has a lot of heart. I think we saw a lot of emotion from this new trailer, a darker kind of tone.
Yeah,
I'm hoping they strike gold twice, dude. I really hope they do.
It'll be The Empire Strikes Back. Hey,
hopefully.
Talking about going back to the well, they were talking about their 360 backwards compatibility, 385 titles.
Yeah.
They said half of the Xbox users have used it, which I think is...
It was like a brag, but I was like, that's not that good, right?
And that's probably just somebody trying it and going, yeah. People exactly. And then they announced that they're working on the original Xbox compatibility. People stood up, they're freaking out. This is backwards compatibility is one of those things that I think it just rarely gets used. I mean, I still play my PS3 because I've been playing Final Fantasy 13 and a bit of Yakuza 0, I think it is, or 5 or whatever one. And
here's the problem with backwards compatibility is when you have something like the PS2 played PS1 games, something like that. It was across the board. Now there's 385 Xbox 360 games, so what you have to do is you have to either look up and see if your game can be played, or you're going to put in the disc and be disappointed. Yeah. And if you have an older console, it's just that easier if you have it hooked up already to pop it in. I think they really need to bring it on the original Xbox backwards compatibility. They came out with Crimson Skies. That was great.
That was the only announced one they had. I was looking for Morrowind.
Yeah, I was looking for... That's what I'm saying. I think that Xbox original... We just had a video where we talked about how great some of the original Xbox games were. Go check that out if it's on the channel yet. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's so many great games on the original Xbox. You got to utilize it. It took them forever to put Red Dead Redemption on 360 backwards compatibility. I understand, but when fans are clamoring for something for so long, and you're like really trying to showcase the feature, I think coming out strong with Time Splitters, that's something I'd love to see. Come out strong with those games first. Add all the little stuff later.
Is Crimson Skies, is that owned by Microsoft? Did they develop that?
I believe. I don't know if they developed it. I think what happens is published by them.
Getting the licensing is the biggest thing for them.
Yeah, exactly. I completely understand.
Yeah,
that.
they were the publisher. So that's
who developed it? Do you know?
Yes, Zipper Interactive.
Okay, see, because I was like, I don't think it's a developer that stuck around for very long. Around.
They've done games like Unit 13 for the Vita. Mag,
I remember that.
And a bunch of SOCOM.
Well, Mag is what put them under.
Lots of SOCOM. SOCOM.
SOCOM.org.
Yeah, right. Hey, then we had this I thought was a really funny announcement. 4K updates for Gears of War 4, Forza Horizon 3, Killer Instinct, Halo Wars 2, Minecraft for free. Well, fucking obviously.
Yeah, what are you going to charge for these PS4 Pro patches that you're trying to do, Microsoft? It's called like the Enhanced X patch or some shit.
Yeah, you want us to buy a $500 console and then charge for... you should be offering that. You should be paying people to use the 4K content so they actually have a reason to buy the system.
Exactly. It's not like we didn't see this coming. Like, what were we just going to expect that all old games would not get patches? Like, that's shooting yourself in the foot at that point. So it was at least they didn't belabor the point. They're like, hey, look at this shit.
Yeah, it was very quick. The opposite of EA's. They talked about more enhanced titles, Final Fantasy 15, Resident Evil 7, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Rocket League, whatever that means. They're going to have patches. So the price point, Xbox S is going to be $249. The Xbox One X, what a dumb name, like we said earlier, is $500. And then the big reveal was Anthem, coming out in 2018. BioWare's game on the Frostbite engine.
Yeah, dude.
This is like an online game, too.
Yes.
Mass Effect Online. I didn't know that the dialogue were these paid voice actors doing voice chat. I thought that was a part of the game because they're
really?
Because they're freelancers in the game. The way they were talking when they when they come across that big monster, I thought and they said, "Oh, let's get this next time." I thought, "Oh, this is something freelancers would say." And then I realized, like, "Oh, they're pretending to be people playing in voice chat."
Yeah.
And they were even so diverse. There were 2 girls, there were 2 guys. There was like a white sounding guy and a black sounding guy.
Microsoft's always very good about being diverse. I think that's what they've always tried to show.
But the biggest thing for them is community.
Exactly. Dude, we got it. All right. I just want to make sure that you guys understand that we're not making fun of the 90s kid community. We love our viewers. We love our fans.
The biggest thing for us is community.
No, legitimately, we love our fans. But EA would not shut the hell up about how much they love their community. And I think the entire community of EA was actually going like, ooh, you know?
Yeah. We'll
see.
I would never call them fans. I would just think of them as people who look at things we do. Bored,
you know what?
Bored people.
I want to say that if you like the content we provide, you can consider yourself a fan because I'm a fan of you.
The biggest thing for you.
All
right, so this game is this looks great. I mean, the world looks fascinating. Again, sort of a dystopian, futuristic, a lot of mixture of different cultures, Eastern influences, these gigantic mechanical beasts. I've been talking about something. Yeah.
Here's something that I thought, but I wonder what you think about it. The beginning of it's first person, and they showed you moving, kind of, and then getting in, and then it went to third person. Was that first person stuff canned animations?
I think so. I think that was
okay. That's what I'm assuming. Yeah, because the facial animation was in there. It was just in the first person thing, and I was like, oh, at least the facial animations look okay. But I also wonder if that'll transfer into third person. I don't know, man. It was just weird. I was like, ooh, it's a first person BioWare game. No, it's not.
Yeah, because they do try to make it look, because even after you finish talking to that guy, you get a little mini quest marker that pops up, says objective, hell or high water, and then you walk over to the exoscoot and you scoot over to the exosuit, and actually it's hard to tell because it does look very gamey with the pop-ups coming up, but it also looks very on rails.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I've been talking about this a lot, but Kotaku, Jason Schreier did that big investigation on why Andromeda failed. And
yeah, it was actually excellent write-up.
And the problems that they had with the Frostbite engine, that's why I was worried to see this. And some interesting political problems where Edmonton was accusing Montreal of floundering and not having a strong enough vision, but Montreal was accusing Edmonton of stealing talent and ideas. And this game looks like Mass Effect, and the combat is exactly like Mass Effect.
I said that this is Mass Effect 4 without calling it Mass Effect 4.
But yeah, it's like a spiritual successor to it, where it's taking. I mean, the world looks like what you wanted the worlds to look like in Andromeda to explore.
It's like a cross of like Destiny, weirdly, you know, because you have like your safe haven and then you're going out into the environment. It's not space exploration, but when you look at the combat, you know, it's third person combat over the shoulder. You have an ability bar at the bottom that has 3 abilities that, you know, you're shooting out torpedoes and stuff. And it's like, oh, so it's very much Mass Effect-y. It's in line with what BioWare has been doing. But I could totally see how a lot of stuff from Mass Effect Andromeda was lifted for this.
Yeah, it's this seems to be a big trend. I mean, we've seen it all through this conference. The trend to go online, play with your friends. Rockstar has been, I mean, they've obviously been making so much money with GTA 5's online, and they were saying that Red Dead 2 is going to be the next phase of online. It's no longer about the single player sitting by yourself. It's having, I mean, and that's like, why not? That's great.
Red Dead 1 had a lot of, you know, that you had your posse to get online, and that was kind of the precursor. So I could see Red Dead 2 being very online-centric.
I mean, I think if you can add co-op without it taking away from the single player, as long as the single player is still intact, I just don't want it to be perpetually online where you feel like you're at a disadvantage if you're not playing with people.
Here's the problem, is that we already did this where, remember in like mid 360 PS3 where they forced online multiplayer into games that didn't need it at all?
Yeah.
Like there was always a tacked on multiplayer. You saw it in BioShock 2.
They still do that. Uncharted 4 comes with multiplayer. Who cares?
Exactly. I really hope that they don't force co-op on games, because nothing is worse than playing a co-op game. Like if you go and you play a Lego co-op game that is designed for co-op versus one that is shoehorned in there is a huge difference and is actually detrimental. So I hope they're not shoehorning co-op into games just for a selling point, because that would be, you know, don't sacrifice the vision of the game for a feature.
It looks good. We'll have to see if it's going to have the sort of BioWare tailored story, or if it's going to be a bit more I don't know, shallow because they have to spread it out over so far, or to do it with co-op, or is it just going to be basically like a single player experience, that same depth of storytelling but done with more people? Overall, I thought this conference was exactly what Xbox needed to do. The Scorpio looked impressive, even with watching it on a 1080p video, and they just it was just games. And if it was very easy before E3 to say that Sony had won the exclusives war, but Xbox made a really strong case coming back and showing
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Cuphead. Let's go. Let's go.
That Neon Blade Runner game, whatever that is.
Yeah, dude. It's good. I was really hoping Microsoft would come out strong and at the very least just not fall flat on their face. And at this point, Microsoft has set the bar. Like, it's not the best E3 they've ever had, but it's really good in comparison to the ones they have had that were bad. So Sony's going to have to really cough up. At the very least, Sony's going to have to show a lot of games, really pull in the exclusives, and drop, at least one or two big things like Crash Bandicoot 4 or something like that. They're going to have to compete, is all I'm saying.
I want to see Final Fantasy VII Remake. See, that's Sony cheated.
Yeah, sure.
What was it, last year or the year before, where they had the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue
Sony
3.
Cheats.
They had all these games that just you're not going to see for 5 years. They had Death Stranding, and that was the year after. They know how to play the hype game.
Yeah,
they make a lot of promises, and they're sort of a one-night stand. It's like the night you're with them, they love you. It's, we're going to do great things together. And then 3 years later, you go, where was that game you promised me?
Like, I'm still waiting, bro. Cuphead was like the Xbox version of just that game that never comes out. But that got a release date. You're right. Like, I guess a lot of stuff that Microsoft showed is at least got hard 2017 release dates, or will probably show up in spring 2018. But when you're looking at Sony, it's often like, ooh, is this 2019 or 2020? Who knows?
2020 vision.
See.
All right. Thanks for joining me. You can find our stuff on A 90s Kid. You can find me on Twitter at GameThinkTalk. And Matthew?
You can find me on Twitter at SGC64Matt and listen to my podcast, Super Gamecast 64.
Stay tuned. We're going to, maybe Matt will join me for the other breakdowns, but we're going to have breakdown videos for Bethesda, maybe for
Ubisoft,
maybe for Devolver, Ubisoft, Sony.
Yeah.
And then whatever Nintendo does.
Nintendo's 30 minutes.
Thanks for watching, everybody, and bye for now.